Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. They say that the test of the genuineness of a Shetland shawl is whether or not it can be threaded through a wedding ring. You know, it's incredible, but those industrious women of those northern islands achieve just this, and the shawls that they make have a worldwide reputation. They would say, good gear goes into wee bulk, and how true this is. I wonder if you realize that it has been estimated that if an electronic computer could be built capable of processing all the activities of the human brain, a building the size of the Empire State Building in New York would be needed to house it, the power of Niagara Falls to operate it, and the water of Niagara to cool it. And yet, the Creator has compressed the equivalent in a brain weighing 3 pounds in the 68 cubic inches of the cranium. I think it's worth remembering in those days when everything is being built on a larger scale, tankers, airliners, buildings, that the size is not the yardstick by which to measure the value of things. You may consider yourself to be of little importance, a nobody, a very ordinary individual for whom the routine of life seldom varies. You may also feel that the contribution you can make to the welfare of other peoples is of no consequence. But I hope that you will remember that it's not just the deed that matters, or the amount of time that it takes to do it, but the quality of love you invest in it, and only God can evaluate that accurately. Despise not the day of small things, for God is the architect and the creator of these, and he uses them to bless others. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, saying, God bless you. Call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. I wonder if you find it difficult to grasp the meaning of abstract terms, words like hope and faith, even love. Let me assure you that you're not alone in your difficulty. But let me tell you a story which may help to shed some light on the meaning of the word faith. A Frenchman living in Britain applied for naturalization, that is, to become a British subject. Now, after all the legal documents had been filled in and they had gone through the appropriate channels, the day came when he received his papers conferring upon him the status of British citizenship. Now, a friend congratulated him and asked him, "How do you feel? What difference, if any, has this made to you?" "Well," said the new British subject, "for one thing, yesterday Waterloo was a defeat, but today it's a victory." Now, what had made the change? I think it was his personal identification with the British nation, and once he had done that, then the consequences followed. Now, this is how I interpret faith in Christ. It's not merely an intellectual acceptance of a dogma or a doctrine, but it is aligning oneself with him in his death and resurrection, so that the blessings of these events become ours. His death gives us a new status with God, and his resurrection offers us new life. In other words, we share the victory he accomplished when he died and rose from the dead. And we do this by identifying ourselves with him. We say with Wesley, "Thou, O Christ, art all I want, more than all in thee I find." This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. There are few people who take kindly to the trials which life brings. They look upon them as obstacles on the path to progress, even enemies seeking to destroy their peace. Now, it isn't easy to see the potential that lies in every difficulty, or to realize that what looks like an obstacle could in fact be a stepping stone. It's like the person I heard of who watched with great interest the newly formed butterfly struggling to emerge out of its cocoon. Thinking that he was assisting it, he took a penknife and slit the covering open. This he thought would save the butterfly from writhing and end its agony. But little did he realize that it was through this muscular activity that the creature gained its strength to enable it to fly. This was, in fact, part of the process of its development. And so it is with folks like you and me. How many of us wish to live always under blue skies, forgetting that all sunshine makes a desert, or never to have a heartache or to shed a tear, forgetting that the most sympathetic and helpful people in the world are those who are no strangers to the agonies of life. We have to ask ourselves what it is that we want most of life. If it is ease and comfort, we may get them, and along with them something that we don't want, a lack of tenderness and understanding. But if it is character like that of Jesus, then through trials we will graduate to it. You never get anywhere in life by remaining on a permanent moral or spiritual holiday. And remember, you can cast all your care upon him, for he cares for you. Now this is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you. Call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 7611234. Thank you for calling. They say that where ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. Now I confess that I am grateful for every particle of knowledge I have, and I hold no brief for ignorance. I recall when in the United States of America a few years ago, speaking with a lady in Louisiana about my native and my beloved Scotland. She, in all seriousness, asked me, Mr. McKee, do you have the telephone in Scotland? To which I jokingly replied, no, not yet, but we have the finest carrier pigeons in the world. She obviously had never heard of Alexander Graham Bell, but bless her, she's not alone in being uninformed. Ignorance is pretty rife today in spite of the education bill being at an all-time high. Now, I don't suppose it makes much of a difference to our lives whether we know the name of the capital of the Sudan or the currency that is used in Pakistan. Here we can afford to be ignorant, but not when it comes to what is right or wrong, whether there's a God or not, whether there's a life beyond the grave, or whether the grave itself is the terminus. I believe that Jesus put a face on the Almighty, and he is the one whose teaching sheds a lot of light on these areas of life which lie either in darkness or in a twilight. It was he who claimed to be the truth and who said, "The truth shall set you free." How free are you from the depression and bondage that ignorance and superstition bring? If the Son shall make you free with his truth, you shall be free indeed. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 7611234. Thank you for calling. I'm sure that you, like everyone else, you're finding rising prices are a proper headache. There is hardly a day passes but the price of some commodity has been increased. As someone said, I could make ends meet if only they would stay put. But it must be a major problem for our senior citizens on their fixed incomes, and also for these young couples who are working so desperately hard at setting up their homes. Shopping is no pleasure when you can't afford the tempting things on display. Now, I'm sure that you find that there are a host of things that you just cannot afford. But let me tell you about some other things which we cannot afford, things that have to do with the mind and with the spirit. We can't afford to go about with a bad conscience, for peace of mind is an essential if life is to be worth living. Neither can we afford to carry yesterday's sorrows into today or tomorrow. And we've got enough to carry on with at the present time without that. And none of us can afford to bear grudges or harbour resentments or seek revenge. And none can afford to be without faith and love and hope. These are not optional extras, but basic ingredients of a worthwhile life. Now, these burdens that I've mentioned are not easily jettisoned, nor can these blessings that I've mentioned be purchased no matter how large our bank balance. But Jesus Christ can take the burdens, and he does give these blessings. It is he who is the architect and the giver of the life which is worthwhile, the kind of life we cannot afford to be without. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood in London, saying, God bless you. Call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. There is a story of how the news of the Battle of Waterloo was conveyed to the authorities in London. Now, I cannot vouch for its authenticity, but it nevertheless is a very interesting story. In those days, one of the methods used in communications was that of semaphore. And the story is that the signalman stood on a hill in the south of England and began the message. Wellington defeated, and then a mist came down and covered him. Now those who got this part of the message were shocked, and despair settled upon them. It seemed as though the great Napoleon Bonaparte had triumphed again. But when the mists cleared and the message continued, it said, Wellington defeated Napoleon at Waterloo. What seemed like a defeat was, in fact, a victory. Now this was the impression gained by those who stood around the cross of Jesus. Two of the most despondent of them said, We trusted that he would have saved Israel, but now is the third day. They were to have the surprise of their lives when they discovered that Jesus was in fact alive and with them. Calvary is God's victory over sin and death, but it's the mists of unbelief that prevent us seeing it for what it is. Now, I wonder if you are confronted with a situation which threatens to defeat you. You don't feel adequate for it because you feel that you lack the necessary resources to cope with it. Why not share this problem with Jesus and see the difference that he makes? It's his presence and help and the fresh faith that he instills that changes an impending defeat into a wonderful victory. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying God bless you and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. There's nothing that instills confidence in me than when I meet a person who is considered to be an authority on some particular subject. And that is the reason I'm sure that when we think that we have something seriously wrong with us, that we like to see the specialist. Now, it isn't that we lack confidence in our doctor, but after all, he is a general practitioner. But when he makes an appointment for us with the man who is the authority on our particular complaint, we begin to feel satisfied because we think if anyone can help us, that's the man. Now, I think it was this conviction that made Moses dissatisfied when God told him that he would send an angel to be with him on his road from the Sinai desert into the promised land. Moses wanted no angel. He wanted one who was an authority on life. And the promise was eventually given to him, My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. And things haven't changed since then. If we have a problem, then God has given us friends with whom we can share it. That's including welfare workers, ministers or priests, and health visitors. But there is also the Lord Jesus Christ, who is God's top consultant, and we can have an appointment with him anytime, day or night. There's no problem he cannot solve, no burden he cannot bear, no need he cannot meet. It is he who says, Come unto me, all ye who are heavy laden. This specialist has yet to make his first mistake. You can trust him. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you. Call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. There is an advert for a well-known soft drink which describes it as the real thing. I must confess that my fondness for the drink is exceeded by my liking for the advert. We all like the real thing. Perish the substitutes. Who wants powdered eggs when you can have them newly laid? Or who wants to drink ersatz coffee when fresh ground coffee beans are available? But I admit that it is sometimes difficult to distinguish between what is real and what is artificial. Man, the mimic, has almost perfected his art at creating substitutes. One shop that specialized in artificial flowers challenged people to find the one real flower in a display of artificial ones. No one succeeded until one wee boy had the bright idea. He let loose a bee. It had no difficulty in finding the natural flower. Real life seems to be equally difficult to find today, and there are many people who have opted for one which is unreal and therefore unsatisfying. As long as people imagine that true life is to be found in possessing more and more material wealth or indulging themselves more and more in pleasure, they will not find it. Might as well try to slake their thirst with seawater. They seek the living among the dead. Life that is real is found in knowing and loving God, and that knowledge and that love are to be found in his Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. He said, "This is life, to know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent." This God is real. How about yours? Now, this is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. It isn't the first time that a child has made a parody of one of our hymns, but when Moira was heard singing a parody of Onward Christian Soldiers, it was a very sincere misunderstanding. Instead of singing Christ our loyal master leads against a foe, she sang Christ our loyal master leans against the phone. When she was questioned, she said that she really did picture the Lord ever ready to listen to the prayers of his people, and there were so many that he was tired and that he leaned against the phone over which the requests came. You know, it sometimes takes the simple mind of a child to show us some very profound truths. I wonder what mental picture you have of the Lord. Do you see him as a sworn enemy of yours, ever ready to pounce on you with burning wrath? Or do you think that he couldn't care less about you and your problems? As one man replied when advised to pray about his problems, "I'd sooner try to quench my thirst with the Milky Way." Do you see God as hostile, remote, or indifferent? Let Moira be your teacher. The Lord is at the other end of a prayer, eager to be of help and ever ready to come to your side. It was Jesus who said, "Pray to your Father in the secret place, and your Father who sees what is secret will reward you." Bless you, Moira. You have a wisdom that we older folks do need badly today. What do you say? This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 761-1234. Thank you for calling. A parable has been defined as an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. Allow me to tell you one that I read recently. A violet grew at the foot of an old oak. After it had lived there several days, the oak said, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself, little violet, when you see how little you are and how large I am?" "No," said the violet, "we are both where God has placed us, and God has given us both something. To you he gave strength, and to me sweetness, and I offer him back my fragrance, and I am thankful." "Sweetness is all nonsense," said the oak. "A few days, a month at most, and you'll die. I expect to stand for a good long time, ages perhaps, and then when I'm cut down I shall be a ship that bears men over the sea, or a coffin that will hold the dust of a prince. What is your lot to mine?" But the violet replied, "We're both what God made us, and we're both where he placed us. I suppose I shall die soon. I hope to die fragrantly as I have lived fragrantly. You too must be cut down at last. It doesn't matter that I see a few days or a few ages. My littleness or your greatness, it comes to the same thing at the last. We're what God made us. We're where God placed us. God gave you strength. God gave me sweetness." Well, that's a parable. I think the lesson is evident. Remember, it's not who you are or what you are that matters in the sight of God, but whether you are where he wants you to be and doing what he wants you to do. It doesn't matter how long a man lives, but how well he lives. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee, 7611234. Thank you for calling. One of our children was born in the district of Govan in the city of Glasgow. Now, I don't know whether she or some other child was responsible for the revised version of the Lord's Prayer, which begins, Our Father who art in Govan, hallowed be thy name. It isn't the way you and I learned it, but it has some truth in it. I like the child's mistaken version, which says, Our Father in charge in heaven. Again, not according to the scriptures, but very accurate all the same. In charge in heaven, and just as well. I recall one child who, in saying his prayers, which followed the familiar pattern of God bless Mummy, God bless Daddy, and all the relations down to the 42nd cousins, ended up by saying, And dear God, look after yourself, because if anything happens to you, we're sunk. How very true. It is good to remember that there is someone who is in charge in heaven, and what is more, on earth as well. It may not always appear to be so. What with all the sorrow and the heartbreak, the wars and the tumults, you would think that some evil power had usurped his throne and carried out a successful coup d'etat. But not so. God's throne stands secure, and while man is mighty, he is almighty. You can trust this God. He has given all power and authority into the control of his Son, Jesus Christ, and it is he who shows that this power is controlled by a hand of love. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 7611234. Thank you for calling. It was a German philosopher by the name of Nietzsche who once said, If I were God, this world would break my heart. I'm sure you have felt the same at times and expressed similar sentiments. Apparently, he didn't realize, but this is exactly what the world did to God. It broke his heart, and the proof of this is in the cross of Christ. Man's inhumanity to man is an incredible thing, but what is even more astonishing is God's involvement with man and his problems. The cross shows that he cares, and it was he who taught us to care for one another. Caring matters most, and if you and I buy immunity from caring at the cost of indifference or hardness of heart, we have paid too high a price. Acceptance of the evils in this world may make life easier for us, but it robs us of the higher reaches of joy. It is only when we put the cross into our way of life, that is, when we become involved in people's sorrows and seek to meet their needs and share their burdens, that life becomes meaningful and the life of Jesus is shared with us. A person once complained to her minister that she had lost the sense of the presence of Jesus. Could he possibly help her to find it? He pointed in the direction of the slums of the city and he said, Go down there and you'll find him. He's with his people. If you and I have lost our sense of God and our joy, we will find these when we meet our neighbour and his need. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying, God bless you, and call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 7611234. Thank you for calling. Someone has said that we live in an age of mental giants and moral pygmies. What is certainly true is that the increase in knowledge has not brought a corresponding increase in wisdom. It seems today that one of the signs that a person has come of age is when he graduates to unbelief in God. I wonder if you have heard the parable of the mice. This is how it goes. A family of mice lived all their lives in a large piano. In their piano world came to them the music of the instrument, filling all the dark spaces with sound and harmony. At first the mice were very much impressed. They drew comfort and wonder from the thought that there was someone who made the music, invisible to them above, yet very close to them. And they loved to think of the great player whom they could not see. Then one day a daring mouse climbed up part of the piano and returned very thoughtful. He had discovered how the music was made. Wires were the secret. Tightly stretched wires of graduated lengths which trembled and vibrated. The mice must all revise their old beliefs. None but the most conservative could any longer believe in the unseen player. Later, another mouse explorer carried the explanation further. Hammers were now the secret, numbers of hammers dancing and leaping on the wires. This was a complicated theory, but it did go to show that they all lived in a purely mechanical and mathematical world. The unseen player came to be thought of as a myth, but the pianist continued to play. The Bible says, "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God, but the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying God bless you. Call again tomorrow. Hello, this is Andrew McKee at 7611234. Thank you for calling. You may be familiar with that famed recipe for jugged hare, which begins, "First catch your hare." Now, that isn't as easy as cooking it. But how does one catch a budgerigar which has abused its liberty by picking strips off the wallpaper as well as being a nuisance to the visitor? I watched enthralled. My hostess had a technique which never failed. She used a mirror. It was gently extended to the reluctant budgie, but the vision of this handsome feathered creature was irresistible. He stepped onto the surface and then he became ecstatic with what he saw. He was in the midst of his courtship before he discovered that he was back inside his cage, a prisoner for a few more hours, trapped because he was over-occupied with his own reflection. The Greek legend tells of Narcissus, that beautiful youth, son of the river god, who, seeing his own reflection in the clear waters, fell passionately in love with himself and pined away because of unrequited love. But you know, the disastrous effects of self-love are not mythical. Jesus said, "He who loves his own life shall lose it. But he who loses his life for my sake and the gospel, the same shall find it." Love yourself and live selfishly, and you shall die. But live for God and love people, and you will live. This is the way of life. This is Andrew McKee, the pastor of Chatsworth Baptist Church, West Norwood, London, saying God bless you, and call again tomorrow.